When I was in college, I thought I had insomnia, but a couple of weeks when we had a certain event showed me that I actually slept very well, but with a caveat. What had happened was we had spring break, and I was living with my parents at the time. And the first night of spring break, I was having a good time. I'm a very big introvert, and so I was staying home having a good time surfing the internet, watching TV, maybe chatting with a few people online. I don't think Facebook was invented yet. I was using AOL Instant Messaging, having the best time of my life. I stayed up and I went to bed at 1 or 2 in the morning. Now I gotta point something out. I didn't have trouble sleeping at 1 or 2 in the morning. Okay, I went to sleep and I woke up pretty late, as you would expect. Now the following night I was once again taking a lot of caffeine, obviously, chatting with people, listening to music, watching TV. We didn't have YouTube at the time. And then by 3 or 4 in the morning, I had crashed. No trouble at all. As soon as I hit the pillow, I fell asleep. Now, not surprisingly, the next day I woke up at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It drove my parents crazy because, I was 17 years old at the time. My family cared about having family time together. But I was having the best time of my life. I was not having trouble sleeping at all. I hit the pillow and I collapsed. And even though I woke up at 10, 11, noon, 1 p.m., I had no trouble waking up. I jumped right up when I got up. And I also had plenty of time during the day to get some exercise. And even though I was an introvert, to go to the store and interact with a few cashiers there, that was about as much social interaction as I got at the time. That was very important for me. And I still had some family time. I mean, our hours weren't compatible anymore, but during the few hours that we were up together, I still had some family time. Now, the problem is that obviously by the end of that week, I had to go back to school, and I went back to all the problems of sleeping, all the problems of waking up, and all that. Now, my first month moving to Seattle, well, not a whole month, but my first week here, I felt really good. See, I was living in New York City, and I took a job here in Seattle, and if I remember correctly, I flew in on a Saturday. So I arrived in Seattle Saturday night, and I had plenty of time to prepare things that I needed, talk to some coworkers here, check out my apartment. And by 11, 12 o'clock, I had collapsed without a problem. And the following night, I got to take a look at the city. And when I got home by 1 o'clock in the morning, I had collapsed without a problem. And on Monday, I got up at 9 a.m. without a problem. I had time to shower and everything. I got to a meeting at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Not a problem at all. And I was thinking to myself, when I was living in New York, I hardly had any time to take a shower before going to work. I always had trouble sleeping, tossing and turning. What did I do right these last couple of days? And then it hit me. I got those extra 3 hours when I flew in from New York. And this week, I'm a professor now, but this week I got to enjoy my own schedule again because we're on mid-semester break. I still have to grade papers, but I can do that any hour I want to. And so right now I'm recording this at almost 4 a.m. and I'm enjoying my little. I call it a time vacation when I do this. My sleep schedule vacation when I get to do one of these. I love it. But even better if I get to actually travel, right? So for example, I'm in Seattle. When I fly to Taiwan, Taiwan is 8 hours before us. I usually get a couple of days where I have those extra few hours and I get to collapse every night when I go to sleep. Now, you would think on the way back that would be challenging, but not really. I just correct the other way around the world, as if I had flown through Europe. Assuming my work back home allows me to do that. Usually it does, to some extent. But at the beginning of COVID, unfortunately, I lost a lot of hours at work, but fortunately, I got to practice this to the extreme. I felt so good. I forgot that one could even have insomnia. I really did. when I had to go back to much more hours in May, June, July, it was like, oh my God, all my problems came back to me. I had forgotten that those problems existed. I really did. It's unfortunate. I wish, now that so many people are working remotely, I wish a lot of workplaces have flexible hours. I've never seen one that was so flexible that allowed you to free float your sleep schedule like that, but I want to see it be more popular. Because when I turn on the TV at night, there's so many ads on insomnia. I don't think a lot of people have true insomnia. Rarely do you see somebody die from not sleeping for 5 days in a row, right? You almost never see that. People just can't sleep in a society that sleeps every 24 hours. That's it, right? Very few people can't sleep, period. I've never witnessed that, by the way. So something to think about, especially if you don't have to go to the office anymore. If you're in a position of power, maybe even talk about it, right? In terms of planning how the workplace is sorted out, right? If you're in the position to do that. Thanks for watching.